Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you're ready to jump into the world of Aruba Wireless, right? Well, you're in exactly the right spot. We're going to do a foundational tour of the whole ecosystem. I'm talking from the moment you plug in the hardware all the way to the very first commands you'll type into the CLI. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll kick things off with the basics of Aruba Wireless. Then, we'll get into the big difference between campus APs and instant APs. After that, we'll check out how to actually manage the network, lock it down with ClearPass, and finally, we'll wrap up with some essential commands to get you going. Sound good? Let's go. All right, let's kick off Section 1. Welcome to Aruba Wireless. We're talking about your very first connection. Look, before we get all fancy with software and crazy configurations, we have to start at square one. And I mean, literally, the first step, plugging the thing in.
So here's a super simple rule, but it's absolutely fundamental. For your controller-based access points, we call those campus APs, and we'll dig into what that means in a sec, they always have to connect to an access port on a switch. Just think of it like this. An access port is a private driveway for one car, right? And a trunk port is like a multi-lane highway with all sorts of traffic. The AP needs its own private driveway. Get this wrong and nothing else works. It's the foundation for, well, for everything.
Okay, moving on to Section 2. Now we get to the fun part. We're going to talk about the two main flavors of Aruba Wireless, campus APs versus instant APs. And trust me, getting your head around this difference is, well, it's the key to understanding pretty much everything else in the Aruba world.
So first up, we've got the classic, the traditional model, the campus AP, or CAP for short. The best way to think about a CAP is like an employee who needs a boss. It can't do anything on its own. It has to connect to a physical hardware controller, get all its marching orders, its configuration, and then it can go do its job and serve wireless users.
Now, on the other side of the coin, you've got the instant AP, or IAP. This is the complete opposite. It's the controller-less architecture. These guys are way more independent. You just plug them into the same network and they start chatting with each other. They automatically form this little team, or a cluster, and then they hold an election to pick a leader. And that leader gets a special name, the virtual controller.
Okay, let's put these two side by side, because this is where it really clicks. Your instant APs, controllerless, perfect for, say, a small branch office where you don't want a big piece of hardware. Your campus APs, they're controller-based, built for the big leagues. Think a massive university campus where you need that single point of control. But here's the absolute kicker, the thing you have to remember. Conversion. You can take an IAP and tell it to become a CAP, no problem. But you cannot go the other way. Once a CAP, always a CAP. That's a one-way street.
So let's talk a little more about this virtual controller, the VC. It's super important to get this. It's not a physical box you buy. It's just a job, a role that one of the instant APs in the cluster steps up to do. That AP becomes the brain for the whole group. You make a change on the VC and boom, all the other APs in the cluster get the memo and fall in line. We're talking everything from firmware updates to security settings.
All right, Section 3 is all about managing the network. So we've got our hardware concepts down, IAP versus CAP. Now let's talk about the software, the tools of the trade that let you actually see what's going on, control everything, and keep an eye on performance.
So for those big controller-based networks, especially if you're on Aruba OS 8 or newer, the Aruba Mobility Master is the big boss. Think of it as the conductor of the orchestra. It's this high-powered piece of software, usually running as a VM, that sits at the very top and orchestrates everything, giving you one central place to manage your entire wireless world.
Then you've got Aruba Airwave. If the Mobility Master is the brain, Airwave is the eyes and ears. This platform is all about visibility. It gives you these awesome dashboards where you can see the health of your network, what your users are doing, and if your configurations are still in line. It's your go-to for seeing what's really happening under the hood.
And hey, while we're talking about management, here's a quick, super practical tip for you. If you're working with Aruba Instant On, which is their line for smaller businesses, finding out what model an AP is couldn't be easier. You just hop into the app, tap on Inventory, or you can go through Site Health and just tap on any AP in the list, bam! All the device details are right there on the screen for you.
Okay, let's shift gears to Section 4, and this is a big one, securing your network. And for that, we need to talk about Aruba ClearPass. Seriously, think of ClearPass as the ultimate intelligent bouncer or gatekeeper for your entire network.
So what does ClearPass actually do? Well, it's a policy platform. Its entire job is to answer a few simple questions for every single device that tries to connect.
Who are you? What kind of device is this? Where are you connecting from? And based on the answers and the rules you set up, it decides what that device is allowed to see and do. In today's world, with everyone bringing their own devices, this is absolutely essential.
And this is where the magic really happens. ClearPass can automatically onboard new devices. Windows, Macs, iPhones, Androids, you name it. It can give users a self-service portal so they can connect their own stuff without bugging IT. It automatically pushes out the right Wi-Fi settings, security certificates, the whole shebang. And it's not just for standard devices. It can identify and classify everything, even weird IoT gadgets or specialized medical equipment.
All right, for our last section, let's roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. We're diving into the command line interface, the CLI. I'm going to give you a few of the most essential must-know commands. Think of this as your day one cheat sheet for the Aruba CLI.
Okay, picture this. You just SSH'd into your controller for the very first time. You've got that blinking cursor. What's the very first question that pops into your head? It's probably going to be, okay, what's actually plugged into this thing? How many APs are online? And the command for that couldn't be easier. It's just show AP database. That's it. This command gives you the master list of every AP the controller knows about. It's your go-to, your first step in almost any troubleshooting scenario, just to make sure everything is alive and checking in. Okay, cool. So you've confirmed your APs are up. What's the next logical question? Right, who's actually on the network? I want to see the real people, the real devices connected right this second.
For that, your command is show user table. This one is a lifesaver. When someone calls you up and says the Wi-Fi is slow, this is where you look. It shows you a table of every single connected client, which AP they're on, their username, everything you need to see what's happening in real time.
Here's a little good-to-know fact for you, a real pro tip. When you're managing an instant AP cluster from the command line, just remember, you can only have 4 SSH sessions open at the same time. It's one of those little details that can trip you up if you don't know about it. So just keep the number 4 in your head.
And last but not least, let's zoom all the way out to that 30,000-foot view. Let's say you're on the big dog, the mobility master. How do you see all the individual controllers that it's in charge of?
The command is show switches. Now, I know what you're thinking. Switches? I thought we were talking about controllers. And yeah, it's a little weird, but from the mobility master's point of view, the controllers it manages are treated like switches. So you run that command and it'll give you a perfect list of all your managed devices.
And there you go. From the physical plug to the command line, you've got the building blocks of the Aruba wireless world, the different AP types, the management tools, the security gatekeeper, and your first set of commands. You now have everything you need to start poking around and seeing how it all fits together. So my question to you is, now that you know all this, what's the very first thing you're going to go look at on your network?